As we left off, the new Eldian Empire forces make it back to Paradis after raid on Marley ended in a success, with only 100 casualties for them. The Eldian Zeppelins land in Walmaria. Shortly after arriving, Flock orders Levi to take Zeke to Walsina, where he'll be forced to fornicate with multiple women, in order to have some royal-blooded offspring. Flock and some forces will take Porco to an empty plot of land where he'll be eaten. Before taking Porco, he orders the forces to line up, saying that one of them will inherit the Jaw Titan, before they can lose the opportunity, since they can't risk Porco staying alive and possibly running away. The forces line up. Flock walks down the line looking to see who can inherit the Jaw Titan. In this line there are Holger, Wim, and Rico. He decides to choose Rico given her experiences. He asks if she would be willing to inherit the Jaw Titan. Rico accepts. I know it may be a bit random that I included Rico in this, but I decide since she barely gets shown in the manga and the show after season 2, I felt like it would be interesting to have her in the story, since we see her as the Jaegers in one of the last panels in chapter 139. Flock, Rico, some forces, and the anti-volunteers take Titan Serum with them to an open field, continuing to cut Porco limbs off so he doesn't heal. They reach the field and quickly put Porco a fair distance from Rico, and Rico is given an injection, transforming into pure Titan, biting Porco's neck and eating him. Rico has now inherited the Jaw Titan. Now that Rico has become a Titan shifter and Zeke's purpose is being fulfilled, the new Eldian Empire will be taking stock on formulating their plan of attack on Marley, which will take some time. As for Marley and the rest of the world, Marley is having difficulties trying to organize their army since more than 100 of their high-ranking generals and staff have been killed. The killing of the high-ranking generals was so devastating that Theo Magath has been appointed general of the Marleyan army. Magath states a global military alliance is forming and will conduct a scorched earth operation to utterly destroy Paradis Island in roughly 6 months. Rico has the ability to control the Jaw Titan well, and Zeke managed to impregnate 6 women. Flock now looks for a woman who can inherit the female Titan. Louise volunteers herself to be the next inheritor of the female Titan. Flock tells Levi that he is allowed to kill Zeke whenever he pleases, since the Sora child is soon to be born and Zeke now has fulfilled his purpose. Annie's crystal is taken outside the Stoas district and taken to Wall Rose. Flock, Rico, and Luis are there with some soldiers. Rico transforms into Jaw Titan, then breaking Annie's crystal. Flock orders to cut Annie's limbs off. Rico does so. Flock asks Annie if there's any other abilities that the female Titan has that they don't know about. Annie doesn't talk, so Flock decides to use torture tactics to get her to speak. After some time of torture, Annie tells them that the female Titan can inherit other Titans' abilities if they eat parts of other Titan shifters. After hearing this, Flock tells them to give an injection to Luis. Annie has a shocked, fearful expression on her face hearing this. Luis is given the injection and transforms into pure Titan. Meanwhile, Annie, remembering how Marco died back in Tross, Luis eats her then reverts back into a human. Luis has now inherited the female Titan. A day later, Levi takes Zeke to a shed, proceeding to torture him all throughout the day, until finally at the end of the day, Levi kills Zeke. Outside the island, a global military alliance is slowly gathering within later this month. With such a large force, there is no secret from it. A situation that the new Eldian Empire has been preparing, and now sounds the alarm to set everything up, so they can swing the plan into motion when the global alliance has fully assembled. With the power of the Jaw Titan, holes are made in Shiganshina to place thunder spears in to blow up the foundation of the district. 13 of the Eldian dreadnoughts have been placed in the southern harbor. 4 Eldian divisions have been placed in the southern region, consisting of 20,000 soldiers under the leadership of Commander Lobo, Commander Ordroff, Commander Kit Willem, and recently freed Commander Doc Pixis, who decided it would be better to join the fortress and fight for the island rather than sit and watch the island be destroyed, since at this point the fortress has solidified themselves on the island and they run the country better than the previous government had. Armin's also placed in the south. Northeast region of the island, 2 Eldian divisions at 12 dreadnoughts have been placed, consisting of 10,000 soldiers under the command of Wim and Commander Holger. To the west, 1 Eldian division consisting of 5,000 soldiers have been placed, including the support of 15,000 auxiliaries, under the command of recently promoted John Kirsting and Captain Levi. To the east, 1 Eldian brigade consisting of 2,500 soldiers have been placed, including the support of 10,000 auxiliaries, under the command of Commander Daz and Commander Samuel. In the inner walls are 1 Eldian brigade consisting of 2,500 soldiers, then supported by 185,000 auxiliaries under the command of recently freed Now Doc, who decided to join the forces for the sake of his wife and daughter. In Shiganshina district, Luis, Rico, and Flock with some 200 soldiers are waiting until the global forces are gathered together. Historia had been secretly hidden with her family, just in case Marley manages to get into Walsina. All 11 Zeppelins are in the south wall of Maria, just in case air support will be needed. Onyankopon has been sent out of Eldia to be leader for the rebels in the occupied Marlene territory. The Global Alliance has been gathered outside the island, Commander Lobo sending a telegram to Flock notifying him. Flock orders for Shiganshina district walls to be brought down. They detonate all 19,600 thunder spears, breaking the foundation of Shiganshina wall, exposing all Colossal Titans. They wait until the Colossal Titans start to shake due to the sunlight. When the Colossal Titans begin to shake, Flock orders Rico and Luis to transform into their Titans. Rico and Luis starting to head east. Luis lets out a loud high-pitched scream, causing the Colossal Titans to follow her. Luis with Rico on her back are leading all 150 Colossal Titans to the west. They take turns running the distance to the west, since the female Titan can't run all the distance by herself. The Global Alliance now has started to deploy amphibious troops into the sea. Luis Rico reached the southwestern part of the island with the Colossal Titans behind them. A ocean liner waits them in the water. Luis yells out another scream, then goes into the water with Rico. Luis gets out of her Titan form and hops on Rico, who swims to the ocean liner. Rico gets out of her Titan form and hop on the boat, and wait. They wait for the Colossal Titan to get close, then start to lead the Titans more westward in range of the Global Alliance dreadnoughts. A amphibious aircraft comes down to the ocean liner to take Luis, Rico, and the crewmen away. The dreadnought fire at the unoccupied ocean liner, then notices that the sea is steaming like there's something hot in the water. They look confused and wondering what it is. They look with their binoculars and see Colossal Titans swimming towards them. They fire at the Titans, killing some but to no avail, as the Titans get closer, burning and destroying all the dreadnoughts of the Global Alliance. While the amphibious force of the Global Alliance land in the southwest, attacking Eldia with no progress due to having no support and the sea to their backs, Eventually, the Global Alliance forces on the shores surrendered to the Eldians. But suddenly, news of an attack to the north is informed to Flock, where the Cart, Armor, and Warhammer Titan, even including 25,000 Marleyan soldiers and 7 Zeppelins under the command of General Magath, are invading. Flock sends a telegram to the south to bring Armin north by train, and to notify Rico and Luis to follow suit when they land. Armin is sent north by train, making a few stops to pick up Flock and some soldiers. Rico and Luis are on the Zeppelin fleet who are being sent north to aid ground troops who are being obliterated by the enemy's Zeppelins. The enemy is slowly moving south due to their air support. They push so far south they start seeing the walls in the distance. Commander Wim and Holger trying their best to slow the Marleyans down in time for reinforcements. Flock decides they should meet outside of Utopia in the north side of the district. 5 Zeppelins, 2 armed aircraft, 37,000 auxiliaries outside of Utopia. Flock, Armin, Rico, Luis finally arrive and they begin to move to the northern district of Walmaria, which doesn't have a name. They arrive at the northern wall and they send Zeppelins and the armed aircraft to go first, to destroy Marley's air superiority. Flock sends orders to Wim and Holger to withdraw to the wall, so they can reorganize their forces. Wim is killed in the action. Flock tells Luis and Rico to transform. He tells Luis to throw Armin at the invaders so they can wipe out a good amount of them. Armin is thrown using the Colossus Titan's powers. He uses his transformation to make a huge explosion, causing devastating losses to Marley, killing a quarter of their 25,000 army. The Zeppelins and aircraft come in engaging in combat, drawing attention away from the ground troops. Flock, Holder, Luis, and Rico and the army now move to engage the enemy. Then Armin's Titan is impaled in the air. It's a Warhammer Titan, along with Reiner and Peak. Reiner looks up in the air at Armin. Flock tells Luis to fight Reiner, and Rico will fight the Warhammer Titan, while he will deal with the Cart Titan. He says to Luis and Rico not to hesitate to eat them. Armin gets out of his Titan and transforms again, only to half of a Colossal Titan, so he can engage the Warhammer Titan more effectively. Marleyan forces are down to 18,000 and Elia is now at 36,000. Fierce combat continues. Armin suddenly remembers the crystal of the Warhammer Titan. Armin tries to pin the Warhammer Titan down and grab her crystal, but Lord Tiber keeps preventing that from happening with the power of the Warhammer Titan. Rico notices this and heads towards the connection, realizing that the connection goes on for miles north, meaning that it will be best to disconnect the line instead of following it and trying to find the crystal. Rico disconnects the line. Rico then heads towards Flock, who's having trouble with the cart since Peak keeps jumping and transforming multiple times. Flock yells to Rico if she can eat the Cart Titan. Eldian soldiers manage to land thunder spears on Peak's back, slowing her. Rico pins Peak down, grabbing her back and neck. Rico bites Peak's Cart Titan, exposing her body, biting her head and neck, and eating Peak, now gaining the power of the Cart Titan. Armin transforms into a full Colossal Titan, proceeding to use as much heat as possible to destroy the enemy in this path. Magath sees the Cart Titan has been eaten, and the Warhammer Titan has been demobilized, still wondering if the Founding Titan is even here. Reiner is now the only one still standing, and now is struggling with the female Titan. Magath orders a general retreat. Rico slashes and bites Reiner's legs, causing him to jump out and transforming again. Reiner sees Marleyan troops retreating. He follows suit. Flock yells out that the armored Titan can't escape, and he orders to advance no matter the cost. Rico goes to Armin, asking him to throw her to Reiner so she can stop him. Armin throws Rico afar. She manages to crash into Reiner, Luis running her direction. Rico uses her claws to break all of Reiner's armor. Magath yells to his soldiers to stop and protect Reiner, since they can't afford to lose another Titan shifter. Holger is killed in the action. In the chaos, Flock spots Magath, raising his rifle, aiming, firing. Magath is shot in the neck. bleeding heavily to his death. Rico starts to rip Reiner's neck, trying to decapitate him. Reiner pushes Rico to the ground, beating her head in. Luis comes from behind and bites Reiner out of his titan. Flock yells out to eat him with his arm in the air. Flock's left hand is blown off by a stray bullet. Luis eats Reiner, now gaining the power of the armor titan. With General Magath dead, Reiner dead, and Pete dead, the remaining Marleyan troops start to retreat, with Eldian troops chasing them down. Eventually, the advance is halted. Around 110 Colossal Titans manage to land aground on Marley's eastern territory, beginning to roam the land however they please. Meanwhile, the news is spreading like wildfire. Onyankopon hears this and starts a rebellion in Marley's southern region. Over 100,000 citizens revolt against their governments, driving out all the Marleyan personnel. Some days pass. Slowly but surely, some southern countries fall out of the global alliance due to the previous government no longer existing, including their leaders. Flock survives his injuries and sends his dreadnoughts to the north to encircle the remaining Marleyan troops in the island northern region, to prevent them from escaping and to catch the Warhammer Titan. The north is retaken and the Warhammer Titan is captured. Flock decides to let Louise eat Lower Tiber after Rico breaks her out of her crystal. Louise now has gained the Warhammer Titan. With Magath dead, Secretary Muller becomes General of Marley. Marley now dealing with Colossal Titans in the north and revolts in the south. Marley is having to put too many resources in the north to kill the Colossal Titans, neglecting the southern regions. Onyankopon put good words in for the new Eldian Empire in the newly freed areas. Even the Eldian Empire decides to send 5,000 soldiers and 30,000 auxiliaries over to the mainland in the newly freshly trampled area over the next few weeks. Kiyomi visits Eldia. Flock asks Kiyomi if she can set up negotiations for Eldia and the newly freed southern region of Marley and Marley itself, including their allies. Kiyomi answers with yes. She will set everything up so all the countries can see an end to this war. Marley eventually kills all the remaining Colossal Titans. General Muller, seeing how their hate towards Eldians resulted in their hate walking back at them, Muller agrees to the southern region's independence and the new Eldian Empire will gain Marley's northern region. General Muller wishes to cooperate for peace between Eldia and the southern nations. Onyankopon agrees with Muller. Flock is a bit hesitant at first, but Onyankopon manages to convince Flock that this treaty will stop the circle of hatred towards Eldians in Marley and the rest of the world, possibly. It may not happen right away in the rest of the world, but it's a step forward. Flock eventually agrees to sign the treaty. Muller asks Flock if there's a way to remove the power of the Titans from Eldians forever. Flock replies with he doesn't know, and if there is, he'll see what he'll do about the information. Onyankopon talks to Flock about what Muller said. Onyankopon asks would he actually get rid of the power of the Titans if possible. Flock says he's not sure since they relied on it for the Empire's survival. Onyankopon says that the southern countries will have Eldia's back, and Hizuru will too after the trade deal is met. Flock responds with either way the power of Titans is coming to an end, and the Force's goals are to modernize. So if there is a way to be rid of the power of the Titans, then he will more likely do it. Only thing to do is to wait 3 more years, since that's how long Eren has left. So we will wait and see when the next Eldian baby is born after 3 years is complete, so that we can find the founder and put an end to the power of the Titans, and circle hatred towards Eldians.